Charles! You're alive! It's Ripley!
Ripley! Taylor, it's Ripley.
Hi there everyone, it's Jaakko here. Today I want to just have a little fun and do a video that I just want to do and talk about something that I'm really big fan of, and that is the Alien Isolation game that is based on the Ridley Scott original movie, and I'm just big fan of this. I think it's really I like this type of a game, this type of a sort of a survival horror things, and then I'm just big fan of the assets and this whole art direction, which is largely based on the movie. So yeah, let's take a look. I'm in the middle of a game here, and I just managed to avoid those pesky androids that are chasing me. I'd like to sort of take a look at the assets and sort of look at them from perspective of an environment artist. I'm doing environment art for games at the moment as my main job, and this game really inspired me to do more of that stuff. So yeah, here I am. I'm in this area where we have to contact the Torrens ship, if I remember right. And yeah, you can see that this game, this whole sort of art direction is based largely on lighting. So if we would remove all the lights from this scene, for example, this wouldn't look nearly as great. If you take a look at these models, for example, here, you can see that they have very nice shading. You can see that edge, for example, there on that corner thing you have this really nice smooth edge, and how that is made is using med poly modeling, using a custom mesh normals. So this is a technique that was used in this game. And then the way how the textures are done is that I think that they have just used some generic textures. That, for example, these dirt things here this is just one texture that's being reused, probably on the floor and then on these assets. So by not baking normals, by not using baked normals, we are able to get away with this, that we don't need to make custom unique textures for each asset, and this saves a lot processing power and processing video memory, of course. So this is a very optimized way to work, and yeah, you could say that some people say that the med poly modeling, it takes too much polygons, but if you think about it, for example, doing the corners, like we can find something also probably like, well, not that one, but like we just walk around here and like look like there's another edge in here. This is a bevel, so you can see there's this triangle on the corner there. And then what this means is that you just create one bevel, and then you create a custom mesh normals and make it so that the transition, that there's no smoothing errors, and if you use Max, there's a script for that, the custom mesh normal script, and also for Blender there's a similar. So if you think about, like, if you were to bake this, and then because you're doing hard normals, you need to, you're doing hard surface model, sorry, then you would need to create like a hard edge in there, and that would split the vertices, and that would again create the double amount of vertices, and you would end up pretty much the same amount of real geometry when it's being rendered in the game. So if you think about this in that way, yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to use custom mesh normals in your game models if you are doing that sort of thing. Yes, and I'm just big fan of this whole art direction, the colors, that how they just work together so well. And you like for example, all the small details, like those these kind of terminals which are covered by this fabric thing, and sometimes you can see that the screen glows behind this semi-translucent material, and so on. Like the lighting is just enormously, this game engine is absolutely brilliant in lighting. You can see that all these lights, for example, cast this nice shading in here, and the whole atmosphere, and the volumetric effects that play a lot of big role in them. The computers and things that are pretty much inspired by the movie. It's like the Explorer. What's that like? Interesting There's the colonial times. Is this man the future? Who is that? Is he? I wonder who is that. He's not like related to Mr. Wayland, I suppose. No, I don't know. And then like the coffee cups, like you can see in the opening scene of the movie, they drink coffee. And the crew handbook. What's that? And then you can see these mysterious symbols that have. If you have seen the making of Alien movie, you can see there's some story about the movies, the typography and those logos and symbols in the movie, and it's really interesting. I really recommend to check the documentary of making the original Alien movie. The typography of the movie is just something. There's actually a really nice article in the internet which I found about the typography of Alien movie. If you compare Alien 1 and Alien 2, for the typography you can just there's enormous difference. I mean that the Alien 2 is just complete rubbish when it comes to the signs and symbols and the graphic design and so on, while Alien 1 is just absolutely brilliant how it's been so carefully, even from the logo of the original Alien, how the logo is revealed and those things. Those things are the reason why I'm really big fan of Alien as a whole, as especially the original, of course. So there's a couple of things, of course, that you're talking about video game here. So the video game, I wish that there was even more consideration. Like there's a scene where in the original Alien movie where the I think that was the android which goes crazy, the Ash. I think there was a scene that he tried to push this adult magazine in some woman's throat, and the kind of innuendo of sexual things in there. And then you can also see in this game there's one scene where there's a magazine being stuffed in someone's mouth, but that's like just lacking the theme of the original movie, the bigger meaning of stuffing adult magazine in a woman's throat. I mean, that's those things that just Ridley Scott's vision of this this whole thing that a movie should tell. Basically, if movie doesn't have anything to say, then movie shouldn't be done. Basically, that's what I think. Also, and a game should also say that. But yes, that's just the nitpicking. I mean, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant game, and you can see like we have these assets like that, and you can see that it just looks so brilliant. I mean that you can see there's no shading errors whatsoever, and just everything looks very nice. And then you could see like there's this machinery in here. Like you can see that it's not so detailed, like, but you look at it from distance and you put it into a light well lit environment like this, it comes together really well. And this whole just is very optimized. You can see there's not too many polygons being used, and it's just very well optimized. So I'm just running this like at 2K at the moment, 2K resolution at the moment. I think 1440p maybe, if I remember right, and it just runs perfectly smooth, and I don't have like a supercomputer. So yeah, I think very brilliantly made game altogether. And you can just maybe we can just explore a little bit more this area. Hopefully not to be attacked by those damn Joes. You can see there are these vents that the alien sometimes just comes and eats you. Yes, there's another lighting environment. You can see that motion tracker just told me that there's some movement going or something. Yeah, I mean just that the whole thing, like, yeah, it's very this really conveys well the rather harsh and just a tiny bit depressing feel of I suppose a feature. This guy there. I'm not interested meeting him at this time, sorry. Must be lonely to be an android. Nobody wants to go to say hello. Yeah, so like there's just kind of pipe things in here. Again, yeah, and sign caution wet floor. And there's a Japanese in there. What's that? I can't read this kanji. I think there's like I can't make sense of that. What's that? I have to ask my friend. What does this Japanese kanji mean there? Right. Like, so you can see there's like some smoke coming from those vents and so on. Yeah, big fan. And you can see that there's these volumetric effects. And this grill thing, this was like the original movie. This is like, it was used in the corridor scenes, and they just look so brilliant in the movie. One thing that I was a little bit like, not really disappointed, but I just wish that there was more variation to these environments in this game, because it all seems to be pretty much the same. So it's all just heavily based on that movie's scenes, and there's not that many variations in the movie. There's this one ship and so on. So I wish there was like more like completely different type of atmosphere. There was like the engineering, the engineering part where you have to build the nest of the alien. That was quite different, sure, and that was pretty also very visually striking, very well made. But I still wish there was like just a little bit more like that the creators just took more artistic liberty, that not just go clearly as just go totally with the movie's reference. But well, can't complain too much. It's a brilliant. And then you can see that, for example, on those paddings in there, it's probably that the way how this is being done is that they just use one normal map and then just use the same normal map for these wrinkles, and that just works. Yeah, it works very well. So I mean, that's another way that you can create very efficient and very optimized things. So yeah, this is it. It's just a little quick look on my big favorite game, Alien Isolation. If you haven't played this, if you're a fan of the franchise, definitely check it out. If you're okay with being totally just being frightened all the time and being depressed all the time and by eating all the time, sure, just check this guy out. So this was Jaakko. I hope you enjoyed this look at the art assets of Alien Isolation. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.
Ripley, slow down. A creature.
It's a life form, an unknown type. Some kind of alien organism. It's extremely dangerous. You and Taylor...